So, Tom, do you have anything from that to turn into a topic or a question?
If they did a brain transplant, I think that would be an interesting question.
Is it more interesting to know or to understand what is there now? Because it's so very subtle and there cannot be time more to just talk about the story of it. May I say, because now we're talking, thinking, considering about what Buddha said about the truth that is so very subtle to be known, but it's so true. And if there is no considering about what he said, about everything in truth, absolute truth, there cannot be the understanding of what is meant by no one, no thing, and no self, no I at all. That's why we're talking about such. It's I all the time. But what about just one word to be known exactly? Not any scientist or anyone can realize that at all, no matter how long studied such and such object. But listen to the truth of the Buddha's word, each one carefully can condition a little more understanding of what is there as the absolute truth in life, each moment, no matter what is there. That's why when we talk about, for example, brain, it's the word in English, but no matter in any language, what is seen, no matter we call it, is seen. What is touched is that which is touched. So we take it for flowers or things like that. But when it's not seen and when it's seen, can it be flower? And so on. That's why learn about the absolute truth of this moment, what is there, in order to begin to understand the truth of what is there unknown from years and years ago until now. That's why if we neglect just one word, and there can be doubt, no understanding of that word, it means that there's no understanding of other words as well. When there's no understanding of one word, how can there be the understanding of other words in this absolute sense? For example, no matter we call it pen or brain or shoes, what is the absolute truth? To learn to understand each moment in life as no one and no thing, to have confidence whether it's true or not. Otherwise, it's useless to learn or to consider about it at all. That's why even just one word, no matter pen or brain or chair, is there any understanding of the absolute of what we take for such and such? That's why can we just come back to talk about brain? Otherwise, there's idea of scientist or doctor and so on, which is not the word of the Buddha. So, what is brain, please? It can be other word, not just brain. Talk about kidney.
A concept.
Why? This concept.
Because it is thought about.
And one is always carried away by thought or thinking, right? But what is moment of saying out brain? What is there? No thought about it. See, at all. Each moment is there as different moments. At moment of saying the word brain, what is there? We think about brain on and on and on, but what is there at moment of saying out brain? See, no one, but what is there? To really understand the cause of the world, to understand the truth, it has to be one's own consideration about what is there. For example, we can use the term like the heart and the brain and so on and the story of that. But what is there in that very moment? Is it known, or we begin to attend to the meaning of the truth? There must be that which says out, brain. Otherwise, how can there be the sound which has the meaning of what we have taken before in one's language? It's so very subtle. And if there's no understanding of it from the very beginning, there cannot be any understanding of what is there at all. For example, when we talk about the reality which cannot experience, see, we can consider what is there. The reality which cannot experience any object. No thought about it, that it's there in the world all the time as well. But it has to be directly experienced. Otherwise, it's just thinking about it. That's why at moment of seeing, we take what is seen as brain, but what is seen is always there at any moment of seeing. So when there is the understanding of seeing and that which is seen now, there can be understanding of thinking or seeing or what is there and the object which is seen or experienced. That's why the understanding of the truth has to be of that which is there. For example, when we think about brain, we think a lot about the meaning of it and so on. But what is that moment? Thinking. What is it? And when there is the understanding of thinking, no matter what about, which story, it's there. Thinking is a reality. But what is its nature? We have to begin to understand the truth of what is there, which is so true each moment. Right? So we think about brain and the story of it, but what is that thinking? Without that reality, can there be the idea about such and such? So, what is brain? If it's known, the other reality can be known as well. Etc. The source of the world, the source of life, the source of every kind of subject, story, science, medical, and so on. Anywhere, anytime, it can be known, little by little, to understand the absolute truth that actually is just a conditioned reality. And for the question of how come to be the reality which experience the object and that which cannot experience the object, see, it's only thinking and thinking and thinking about that. But as that is there, conditioned differently, so it can condition the reality which experiences the object, and it conditions the reality which experiences the object. See, by conditions. Before knowing about the conditions for whatever arises, it has to be understanding of the truth of that characteristic. For example, about the brain. See, what is it? The sound is heard by that which conditions such sound. And without the reality which experiences an object, can there be such moments? Thinking about heart surgery and so on. But the truth of that in a moment is so true. And it can be realized little by little, whether it's true or not. For example, seeing, no matter see the brain or the shoe or the flower, what is seen is seen. Is that right? And it has to be only that which we use the word impinge or the eye base. No matter we use the word impinges or what at all, but it's just like in touch. For example, what is there at the back? Can it be seen, and why not? See, there must be condition. It has to be there. And impinges or in touch with the eye base. Otherwise, no condition for seeing at all to arise. And so on. Just consider the truth of each moment deeper and deeper to begin to realize the nature of that which is there as it is the reality which experiences the object by different conditions to be the chief of experiencing or to be the will to do or whatever is there or remembrance and so on, or are they conditioned by conditions? See, by conditions. It's so true. To condition different objects, different realities. So it conditions the reality which experiences the object to arise to experience, and it conditions the reality which arises but cannot experience. The main difference, the main categories are the two. One arises to experience, and the other arises by conditions, but it cannot experience. Can anyone change that which arises to experience, not to experience? Impossible. And can anyone change the reality which cannot experience to be able to experience? Never at all, by conditions, because no one there at all. All are conditions by different conditions, different idea by different conditions too, different languages by different conditions too. Everything depends on conditions. So they are different by conditions. No doubt about it, because no one there at all. Little by little, no matter what is there in word, it can be understood of its nature, whether it is the reality which is conditioned to arise to be such, that is seen, or that is heard, or that is smelled, or what is thought about. The understanding of the truth begin to develop on and on at any moment of understanding the base or the basic, the foundation of the truth of life in a moment. The reality, no matter is thinking about brain or thinking about a car or thinking about a fire or whatever, is that which arises and experiences by conditions through different doorways. Is that right? And everything in life can be learned, that even at moment of being fast asleep, there must be the reality which experiences an object from moment to moment, but the object depends on whether it's through the six doorways or not of the six doorways. That's all. That's why we can talk about anything to understand the absolute truth, not just only this word or that word. It has to have confidence of the truth of the reality as the reality which experiences the object, so it's not I or anyone at all. It's conditioned to arise to be different by characteristics and function too. So learn more about the truth of what is there. Can let go ignorance, attachment, and the wrong idea of I or something, little by little, unexpectedly, so very subtle. And this is the only path, the path of the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths, even that word, what does it mean? Experiences the reality with right understanding fully enough to realize the truth of what is there right now, anytime, right now, anytime, by conditions. So now, when there is a little understanding of what is there, it's there beginning to be developed. So understanding it again and again and again is the development of understanding of what is there, little by little. So we can talk about whatever to be known as is truth, as is not as what we take for something like people and things. or life or any word. Just talk with no understanding, with ignorance of what is there in life, in any life, when there is no understanding of the absolute truth right now.